Hi folks, in this lecture we're going to look at the teaching personal and social responsibility model. This focuses on the work of Professor Don Hellison, who's at the University of Chicago. And a number of years ago Don developed this model for teaching personal and social responsibility. The interesting thing is he never actually developed it as a health or physical education model. He just recognized that it was a really valuable context for working with youth and developing those at risk, and through his work with young people he developed the personal and social responsibility model. The critical thing here, like a lot of the people who are challenging us to think differently about health and PE, is that for Don, PE is more than just about teaching motor skills and fitness. It provides this amazing context where you can work with young people in very authentic situations, and because it's authentic and it creates real sort of micro situations, you can then begin to focus on the ideas of personal and social responsibility. So the responsibility model has two aspects to it. The first part is focusing in on self-responsibility. So the model is about empowering students to take more responsibility for their own bodies and lives. And as Don says, you are personally responsible if you're willing to try and to experience new things, and if you can work on your own and develop and carry out a plan for yourself that will enhance your own well-being. So one aspect of the model is about developing in students the understanding of what being personally responsible is about. And as I say, the key things in this are about willing to try and experience new things, being able to work on your own and independently, and be able to plan and carry out your own plans in order to enhance your own well-being. So personal responsibility is one aspect. The other aspect is the notion of social responsibility, and that's about teaching young people that they have a right and a responsibility to be sensitive to the rights and feelings and needs of others around them. So as Don says, you are socially responsible if you respect the rights and feelings of others, are sensitive and responsive to the well-being of others, and to fully carry out these responsibilities you need to attempt to put them into practice outside of PE. So that is a sort of an obligation. So there's two aspects here, being personally responsible and being socially responsible, and that's what the model's about. The responsibility model is built around several themes. There are 4 key thematic objectives that guide teachers in the delivery of this sort of model. And it really is a complete philosophy. It's about the creation of a learning climate focused on responsibility that fosters respect, modelling, and spots those teachable moments when you can work with students. The 4 key objectives or themes are easily remembered with the notion of sight. So as Don says, by keeping sight of these themes, teachers can promote personal and social responsibility through any curriculum activity. So sight stands for 4 key themes that are embedded into the philosophy of and the approach of teaching personal and social responsibility. The first theme is student-teacher relationships. And that's about the teacher dedicating time to foster good student-teacher and student-student relationships. In fact, it's essential for creating the climate of respect, which is core to the responsibility. For students to buy into a responsibility-based climate, we have to model, reinforce, and reflect upon what it means to respect the rights of others. So being attentive and knowing what other people's rights and needs are. And without positive student-teacher and student-student relationships, the best we can hope for from the responsibility model is for it to serve as a behaviour management tool. But in actual fact, it's beyond that. It is focusing on, firstly, that good teaching is a relational quality. It's about developing and working with others. The second theme is the notion of integration, and that this is really a philosophy of teaching. And because it's a philosophy of teaching, it's fully integrated into every aspect of your program. It's not just a unit of work that you're working on, but the teaching and personal social responsibility model integrates into all aspects of the program. And so the teachers are encouraged to integrate responsibility roles, concepts and expectations into every lesson regardless of what they're teaching. The third theme is the notion of transfer. And so transfer moves the model from just a physical education curriculum tool that we're using to actually a youth development process. So we're encouraging people to connect between their actions and behaviours inside the lesson with those outside of the physical education lesson and outside of school. And the goal here is eventually students will learn to reflectively make these connections and make choices that are consistent to the responsibility model independently. So it's about going beyond the lesson boundaries. The last theme is the notion of empowerment. By definition, empowerment is an individual sense of power in students' lives. So for the model to work, the teacher must share responsibility with the students. They must reinforce positive choices, redirect negative choices, and encourage self-reflection in students. And students must feel a sense of empowerment. For them to feel a sense of empowerment, they need to have a voice in the learning process and to be supported by their peers and teachers. So this is the notion that really the teacher's looking to empower their students to have more authority, more input into the lesson, and for the students to see that they've got responsibility for things. So this is the core of the model. It's philosophical, and the critical thing is understanding what those four themes are.